yo. My bad. Hold on, I gotta fix something. Shit. Is everyone here? Is everyone here? Is everyone back? What up? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm in the process of recording 100 videos in increments of 30 minutes. So in case things doesn't go my way, you'll still have commentary for months. On another note, I'm doing this live because I have to I hate having to do this, but I have to draw basically lines in the sand. And it's basically us versus the people that don't understand what we've been talking about here for 2 years, which is the case. So I'm gonna read off something, and as I read it off, and I'm pretty sure you heard it 1,000 times, but for some reason we have to keep reading it, right? Okay. So, and then we're gonna go over some things. I want to discuss some things that I found that I haven't seen. You guys might have seen it, but I haven't. You know what I mean? At least not in articles. I probably heard about it, right? Okay? So, let's go here. Robert Sylvester Kelly was born January 8th, 1967. Is an American singer, songwriter, record producer, and philanthropist. Let's stop right there. I haven't seen him philanthropy anything. I heard he paid for when a club in North Chicago failed at one time, and I heard he was going to give money to the military after he did the Olympic thing. I haven't seen or heard about him philanthropizing anything else. That's not saying that he didn't. That's just saying that I have not seen that. You know? So I'm not trying to be mean right there. He has been accused of numerous cases of sexual abuse. R.Kelly has been credited with helping to redefine R&B and hip-hop, earning nicknames such as the King of R&B, the King of Pop Soul, the Pied Piper of R&B. R. Kelly is known for songs including, I won't read all their songs. In 1998, Kelly won 3 Grammy Awards for I Believe I Can Fly. Although Kelly is primarily a singer and songwriter, he has written, produced, and remixed songs, singles, and albums from many artists. In 1996, he was nominated for a Grammy for Michael Jackson's song, You Are Not Alone. Right? Kelly has sold over 75 million records worldwide. 75 million. So, we're going to do the math. We're going to debunk some things tonight right here, right? 75 million records. Well, we kind of can't do that because it's not back in the day. Back in the day, I could have calculated this real quick, and actually, I still will. But with streaming and the way streaming works, I knew he was gonna do this. Hey, hey. His record sales of money that he would have accumulated from his record sales before taxes is $225 million. $225 million. And that's even acknowledging that he would have been getting $3 off of a $10 album. Right? Right. So 75 million records at $3 an album. Album priced at from between $10.99 $16.99 comes to $225 million is what he would have amassed out of that 225 million. You take 35% taxes out of that. So you take $78,750,000 out of that. You take another $11 million out of that for a regular standard manager. His personal manager, you take $11 million off that, and then you just keep going downward. You take $1 million videos out of that. You take everything about marketing out of that. You take all of the marketing and all of the shit out of that, and it probably will come to around 60 or 70 million dollars after taxes. When you accumulate that, and you accumulate and this is not including tours. When you accumulate that, you accumulate dancers, you accumulate wardrobe, travel, houses, cars, blowing money, stupid shit, nigga shit, jewelry. You accumulate all of that. It is not in the vicinity of, even with royalties, of $1 billion. It's not even in the vicinity of $900 million. It's not even in the vicinity of $200 million. Because the total of what he would have projected from the record label, based on, this is not streaming, this is sales, overall sales. His royalties probably going forward, is it worth $100 million investment? If you had $100 million and you was thinking about investing in something with Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, would you take $100 million of your money and invest into his royalties? Even if he didn't have the cases that he had, would it be worth it to invest in that? My opinion, I wouldn't. Right? So let's keep going. Making him the most successful R&B male artist in the 1990s and one of the world's best-selling music artists. A lot of people don't know that R.Kelly music sold. His music sold. He was the 55th best-selling music artist in the United States in the 90s with over 32 million album sales. He was named by Billboard as the top R&B hip-hop artist between 1985 and 2010. This is in the 90s. This is before to 2010. Since the 90s, Kelly has been accused of sexual abuse and misconduct, often with underage girls. Okay. Sexual abuse and misconduct, often with underage girls. All charges he denies, which that's fair. In 2002, he was indicted on 13 counts of child pornography, but was acquitted of all charges in 2008. In January 2019, a widely viewed Lifetime docuseries titled Surviving R. Kelly detailed allegations of sexual abuse by multiple women. Allegations Kelly denies. Facing pressure from the public using The Mute R. Kelly hashtag, RCA Records dropped Kelly. On February 22nd, 2019, Kelly was indicted on 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. On July 11, 2019, Kelly was arrested on federal charges alleging sex crimes, human trafficking, child pornography, racketeering, and obstruction of justice. Kelly faces a total of 22 federal counts, including child pornography. I want you to hear this. R. Kelly is in jail for 22 federal counts. Those counts include child pornography. Child pornography is pictures and video of underage girls, kidnapping, forced labor as of January 2021. Anything that's happened after that, but that's what he's in jail for, right? Okay. So, as we go through Solar Coaster and details of him being in, his childhood, things happened to him. Ida B. Wells, and growing up, somebody took his bike, and then a girl drowned herself, and then family members touched him. All of these stories equate. Well, it sort of provides temporary cover for his fans to explain, and I don't. This is what I'm having trouble dealing with, because if you discuss the abuse towards R. Kelly that happened to him, for some reason you can't equate that with what's happening to these girls. Like, I haven't came across a fan yet that will deny that these things happened to him, that no one went to the police, that there is no police reports, that, well, it's the parents' fault. Well, it's R. Kelly mama's fault. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. So it's two edges to the sword when it comes to this stuff and discussing it. And his fans, they don't want you discussing certain things. They don't like it when you discuss certain things. They want you to not discuss it. I have questions. As an adult, why are you returning to the high school? It's multiple people, not me. I wasn't there. It's people that got eyewitness accounts that they witnessed him taking underage girls from the high school. They were in the documentary. Did they talk to prosecutors? Hold on. I'm on the show. I'm live. Call you right
Okay.
back. Okay.
All right.
All right. Did they talk to prosecutors, the people from the show? Did they? Did the people that was in surviving, not the victims, not the people that that's getting their information pulled, that's getting bashed, that's getting assaulted in malls. I'm talking about the bloggers and the activists, and not Me Too, and not Time's Up, and not Mute R. Kelly, but the council, the people that actually went to the high school, that was there, that physically said that those things happened. And then we went on to talk about his dyslexia. We know how he did Big Break and they won 100,000. They was with Public Announcement, and then they went into as you listen to Public Announcement, they go into Sparkle, and then the rumors start flying about, okay, Sparkle left her husband for him, and it didn't work out. And then you go into you go into Sparkle's niece. You go into when you're talking about allegations, and along this journey of all of these things, he's dropping hits. He's dropping hits. hit after hit after hit, Christmas songs, everything. He's dropping hits, you know. And as we get to here, I'm gonna put it on the screen. Let me make myself clear. Okay. I'm gonna make this as big as I can. Um, and this says that this is what I wanted to go over. According to Vibe and the Chicago Sun-Times, 27-year-old Kelly and 15-year-old protege Aaliyah were illegally married in a secret ceremony on August the 31st, 1994. Let me stop right there. I wasn't there. I can't say whether they were married or not. Without paperwork, right? But I can say that Rocky Bivens, which was his manager, said he was there and a ceremony did take place. And Demetrius Smith, which was his manager, that has the book out that you heard me read, said that he did get married. And then I'm going to finish reading. In a secret ceremony on August 31st, 1994 in Cook County, Illinois. Upon meeting Kelly and prior to the nuptials, Aaliyah admitted she had falsely stated she was 18. In a 2008 interview, Kelly's tour manager, Demetrius Smith, said that he facilitated the wedding by obtaining falsified identification for Aaliyah, which listed her as 18 years old. So this happened. He said this happened before Surviving R.Kelly was even thought of. He said this in 2008 in an interview, right? Kelly had been introduced by Aaliyah by her uncle. We knew that he was introduced to her uncle at the age of 12. Her uncle is Barry Hangerson, just 3 years prior when she was 12 years old. In 2009, a contemptuous video surfaced showing Kelly stating Aaliyah was aged 14 years less than a year before her marriage took place, right? And then we have Herschel Muhammad saying before she was even 14 that R. Kelly was being inappropriate with her, and his wife facilitated her to Hollywood, and he fought that tooth and nail with the family, and they said that she was in Hollywood before an album was even released for a month with him. I didn't say these things. I'm just watching these interviews and I'm reading and I'm trying to put together what this person said versus what this person said. I wasn't there. I don't know Demetrius Smith. I don't know Herschel Muhammad. I never talked to either one of those brothers. But I'm on Wikipedia. I'm referencing Jim's book. I'm referencing court documents, which now we see the application which I posted. We see the marriage certificate that, and this is what, now this part is my opinion. It's looking like he was seeing and sleeping with the minor. This is just what I'm thinking. He fell in love with this minor. And he married this minor. And I'm going to go on to read this. The marriage was annulled in February 1995 at the behest of Aaliyah's family by a Michigan judge. Kelly and Aaliyah, however, both denied the marriage occurred and even denied that their relationship had ever moved beyond friendship. Right? Despite denials of marriage, in 1997, Aaliyah filed a lawsuit in Cook County to have her existing marriage records expunged, claiming that she was underage at the time of marriage and lied by signing the marriage certificate as an 18-year-old. and that she could not legally enter into the marriage documents in her case against Kelly. So I didn't know that. A lot of y'all knew that. I didn't know that. Aaliyah, not her parents, not R.Kelly, in 1997, she went to Cook County and filed a lawsuit to have her record expunged, claiming that she entered into an agreement underage, y'all understand that? In May of 1997, Aaliyah filed a lawsuit in Cook County to have her existing marriage records expunged, claiming that she was underage at the time of marriage and lied by signing the marriage certificate as an 18-year-old, and that she could not legally enter into marriage without parental consent. That debunks three things. It tells you that no matter how much these people say that the parents were there, she filed a lawsuit that is under oath saying that she was not there. Their parents were not there. She filed a lawsuit saying that I signed these documents, I was underage, and that way my record needs to be expunged because I did not have parental consent from my parents. Right? Okay, I just want that to be clear so it doesn't come up again. We should never have to hear about that again. Aaliyah filed court documents asking for her record to be expunged. That's not what this says. That's not what this says. I'm going to read it again so we don't have to discuss it again. In May 1997, Aaliyah filed a lawsuit in Cook County to have her existing marriage records expunged, claiming that she was underage at the time of marriage and lied by signing the marriage certificate as an 18-year-old, and that she could not legally into a marriage without parental consent. At this point, hold on. The expungement request was in the middle of a lawsuit filed by Tiffany Hawkins, who was seeking to use, hold on. The expungement request was in the middle of a lawsuit filed by Tiffany Hawkins, which you seen the lawsuit, you seen Aaliyah sign on to that lawsuit, and you seen Demetrius Smith sign on to that lawsuit. Right? Am I right or wrong? Right? I seen the names on the paper. Right? The expungement request was in the middle of a lawsuit filed by Tiffany Hawkins, who was seeking to use the marriage documents in her case against Kelly. Hawkins later accepted a settlement of $250,000, subject to a confidentiality agreement in 1998. In 2019, federal prosecutors in New York charged Kelly with bribery related to the 1994 purchase of a fake ID in order to obtain a marriage license. So I shouldn't have to discuss that again. This is something else that I came across that I did not know. Well, we're going to get to it. Right? In 1998, Kelly paid Tiffany Hawkins $250,000 after she claimed Kelly had induced her to have group sex with other teenagers when she was 15 years old. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm only reading it, right? And what we're going to do now is we're going to actually click on the article, because these things are not new. These things, this is the article from 2002. Let's go to it. Hold on. 131. Okay. Are y'all with me? Right? This is an article. This article is from 20 years ago, right? And it's not written by Jim DeRogatis. It's written by someone at Jam Music, right? And it says, embattled R&B singer R.Kelly, who was being investigated in Chicago in connection with a video showing a man having sex with underage girls, has bought his way out of an older sex accusation. Britain New Musical Express reports that Kelly has settled a civil lawsuit with a former record label employee who claimed the singer coerced her into a sexual relationship this is actually something else. Beginning when she was 17. This is Tracy Sampson. Tracy Sampson, a former employee of Epic Records, launched a $50,000 lawsuit last August claiming Kelly took advantage of his occupational status, position, authority, and Tracy Sampson's trust and confidence to him to cause her to develop a dependent relationship in him. Terms of the settlement were not disclosed. In 1998, Kelly similarly paid Tiffany Hawkins $250,000 after she claimed Kelly had induced her to have group sex with other teenage girls. Tiffany Hawkins was 15 at the time. The Chicago videotape, which has circulated so widely that it is allegedly for sale on VHS and DVD, reportedly shows a man engaged in sexual acts with young women, including one girl as young as 14. Kelly has strenuously denied that he's the man in the tape and has claimed that he is a victim of plot. Right? Okay. So, we're going to go back here. Because, okay, so 1998, after he paid Tiffany Hawkins, so now Tiffany Hawkins was 15 and Aaliyah was 15, and you have seen Tiffany Hawkins in Aaliyah videos. You have seen Ebony Wilkins says that she was there. You have seen Javante saying she was there. Rocky Bivens was there. Jim Pratt was there. Amongst other people were there, right? That has witnessed this behavior, but I wasn't there, and you wasn't there. We're just reading it. That's all we doing, right? On February 2002, a video surfaced allegedly showing Kelly engaged in sex with and urinating on an underage girl. The story, which was released by an unknown source, was sent to the Chicago Sun-Times. Let me stop right there. The people who support R. Kelly wants to talk about that narrative of who sent the tape. Over here on this channel, we don't give a fuck who sent the tape. It does not matter to us. Don't care about who sent the tape. Whoever sent the tape, he shouldn't have been on the tape, and he shouldn't have been having sex with a minor. You know what I mean? We don't care about how the tape got there, whether it was flu, whether it changed hands, who had the motherfucker. We don't care. Doesn't matter. Right? Was sent to Chicago Sun-Times, the newspaper that broke the story on February 8, 2002. The news surfaced as Kelly was to perform the opening ceremony at the 2002 Winter Olympics. Kelly said in interviews that he was not the man in the video. In June 2002, Kelly was indicted on 21 counts of child pornography. The same month, on June 6, 2002, Kelly was arrested by the Miami Police Department on a Chicago arrest warrant at his Florida vacation home. Kelly was later released after spending one night on bail and posting a bond of $750,000. The alleged victim And this the part that matters. The alleged victim refused to testify at trial, and a Chicago jury found Kelly not guilty of 14 out of 14 counts of child pornography in 2008, right? And currently, when I just read off those charges, he's charged with obstructing that case, and they alleging that he actually paid people to get videos back, threatened people. This is alleged. He allegedly got in touch with one of the jurors in that case, and you could say that that's one of the reasons why he don't have bail. But since then, they have blew up shit, all kind of shit like that. I don't know what Rice Aroni over there talking about, but he probably could have got a bail after being in jail for a while if none of the other things like bribery or any of those other things had happened. So I don't understand his last two videos at all. He's actually part of the reason why he don't have a bail. That's just in my opinion. Okay. While investigating the photographs reported in the Sun-Times, Polk County Sheriff Office conducted a search of Kelly's residence in Davenport, Florida. During the search, officers recovered 12 images of an alleged underage girl on a digital camera wrapped in a towel in a duffel bag, which allegedly depicted Kelly involved in sexual conduct with the female minor. While that information couldn't be used in Florida, it will most certainly be used in the Illinois federal trial because they have jurisdiction over all of that, right? According to the Chicago Sun-Times, the girl in the images obtained from Kelly's Florida home also appears to be the girl in the videotape, which Kelly was indicted for in Chicago. Kelly was arrested on January 22nd, 2003 by police investigators from Polk County and Miami-Dade County at Miami's Wyndham Grand Bay Hotel. On those charges, he was charged with 12 counts of possession of child pornography. Kelly was later released from a jail hours later after posting a $12,000 bond. In March 2004, these charges was dropped due to lack of probable cause for the search warrants. So, the only reason why he was able to get out of that is because the police came to the house, the vacation home, and they were supposed to arrest him. They did not have a proper search warrant to go through his camera, through his property, sort of like some drug shit, and goddamn it, they threw it out. Right? So, I want to make sure when I read this next part that it is alleged. GMD Road Goddess reported for BuzzFeed News on 2017 that Kelly was accused of three sets of parents by holding their daughters in an abusive cult. Kelly and their alleged victims deny the allegations. And you ask me, you say, hey, how could you be a fan of his and you turn and you don't support him no more? It's because if you go through this Wikipedia and you see all the stuff in the blue, those are articles that were read before we even came around, before we even got into this. So in the past, I've read articles on Drea. If you look at the video that I put up there of Drea, it's Drea in the video explaining and her parents having to get well-being checks. It explains dancers that she danced with having to get well-being checks. They're concerned about their child. Right? So that's just my opinion of why I'm not supporting the other way. Like one of them, the sticking point, right? In March 2018, BBC World Service aired a documentary entitled R.Kelly, Sex, Girls, and Videotape, presented by reporter Ben Zan, that explored the 2017 allegations. This was followed up in May with the BBC THRU documentary, Sex Scandal Continues, which include the parents of the Savage daughters. Kelly was again accused of misconduct on April 17, 2018 by a former partner who claimed that Kelly infected her with a sexual transmitted disease. A representative from Kelly's delegate, he categorically denies all claims and allegations. That claim that in particular Jane Doe made, that's what you see R. Kelly's manager, Star 67, charged with, because she made that claim and he was bribing her, he was intimidating her by contacting her lawyer to get her to drop those charges. I don't want to read this. In January 2019, BBC, a woman named Ashanti McGee, who Kelly had met in 2014, had taken it live with him some months later that she lived not only with Kelly alone, but with other women. She said he controlled every aspect of my life while I lived with him. McGee later moved out on her own accord. I don't buy that for 1 second. She does, I believe, in my opinion, and alleged that she did know what was going on with the girls, but I categorically do not think that she was one of the victims. I think that she worked there, and I think that she assisted R. Kelly into separation tactics. Let's just say that. So while I will agree with the other side of saying that she's not a victim, but I did think that she participated with him in feeding and housing and all of this shit. The fuck that, you know what I mean? Every single person, like I can get my uncle on here, like he'll tell you. Okay, this is something I came across that I did not know. And I don't want to start any controversy around this, but that's what we do on the Grown Little Boy Show. We're going to discuss it. So, in a divorce court filing unsealed in 2020, R. Kelly former wife claims that R. Kelly was accused of molesting a preteen girl in 2009. Right? And I'm going to actually go to the article and remind you that I didn't say this, right? These things are online. You know, this is not made up by me or anything. I did not, right? And I know that the case is unsealed, but it's a minor involved, so it's nowhere you're gonna be able to go to get these divorce records because it's things in them from a minor. So you probably gotta pick that up. You probably gotta go and pick it up. You know, but to credit R. Kelly in this, we're just gonna have to see what it say, because it says something about DCFS. In a recently unsealed court filing, R. Kelly's ex-wife claims the singer was accused of molesting a preteen in 2009, the year after he was found not guilty of child porn by a Cook County jury. The alleged victim is younger than any of Kelly's known accusers, and the alleged abuse took place more recently than the majority of the criminal incidents charged against the singer in state and federal warrants. Andrea Kelly outlined the allegation, which has not been previously reported, in a 2014 legal filing seeking sole custody of the couple's 3 children. While this article does not state who this girl was, I allegedly will say, in my opinion, that it was her own child. That's what I would say, but I don't have any proof of that. It's not in any court documents. That's just my opinion, allegedly, right? Because I'm thinking, why would Andrea allege that he touched a child that is not her child in their divorce decree under oath? Because she would have lost her own child. She would have lost all her kids if she was found to be lying about any of that in court under a judge. In the motion unsealed only after a legal effort by WEZ, R.Kelly claims the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services investigated the accusation that in 2009, Kelly touched the girl, referred to as Jane Doe, in a sexually inappropriate manner and made advances toward her that were sexual in nature. However, according to the motion, the Child Welfare Agency deemed the allegations unfounded. The DCFS caseworker investigator specifically and personally advised Jane Doe's mother that despite the fact that the caseworker believed that the events occurred, she had no choice but to deem the matter unfounded based on the length of time between the events occurring and Jane Doe reporting the incident. The motion reads, the allegations and investigations by DCFS came after Kelly's high-profile trial on child pornography charges. So, I want to read that again. I want you to listen to this. The DCFS caseworker investigator specifically and personally advised Jane Doe's mother that despite the fact that the caseworker, believed that the events occurred, she had no choice but to deem the matter unfounded based upon the length of time between events occurring that Jane Doe reported the incident. Right? And all of these things is alleged. Right? So, of course we know that R. Kelly was boycotted. We knew that this is something else. This is something else that I read that I was like, well, damn. Okay? So, listen to this. Right? The Washington Post ran a lengthy article in May 2018 alleging that the music industry executive had been aware of Kelly's sexually abusive behavior towards young women for years, but did little to nothing about them due to his success as a performer and a songwriter. As early as 1994, the paper reported his tour manager had urged Jive Records founder Clive Calder to tell Kelly he would not release the singer's records if he continued to have incidents with women after every concert he gave. Calder told the Post that he regretted not have done more at the time. Clearly, we missed something. Former Jive president Barry Weiss told a newspaper that during 20 years with the label, he never concerned himself with Kelly's private life and was unaware of the 2 lawsuits filed against Kelly, and that the label by women alleging sexual assault suits in which the label had been successfully argued it was not liable. Larry Kahn, another Jive executive who worked closely with the singer even after viewing the sex tape, likewise implied it was not the label's responsibility and pointed to Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis as musicians whose labels continued to release and promote their records despite public awareness that they were involved with young women. But I have a fucking problem with that, because one of the other people that worked at Jive Records said that the label sent them out to Chicago to buy up all of the fucking videos. Y'all seen that? You remember that? Okay? So let's keep going. Executive at Epic Records took a similarly relaxed attitude towards the allegations of Kelly's sexual misconduct. The Post claimed in 2002, after he signed with the label, executive David McPherson allegedly avoided viewing a copy of the tape purportedly showing the singer having sex with an underage girl, even as he warned Kelly's assistant that if it turned out to be Kelly on the tape, the label would drop him. McPherson did not respond to the Post request for comment and interned with the label, whose work suffered after she began a relationship with Kelly, ultimately costing her her position, settled with Epic for $250,000. That was Tracy Sampson. Kathy Carroll, the executive she worked for, regularly rebuked her former subordinate for having an affair with the married man whenever the two met at social functions for years afterwards, and the damage to the woman's reputation led her to abandon her career in the music industry. Carroll told the newspaper the woman was starstruck. A lot of the time, it's not really the men. That it was Epic Records said, right? The Washington Post also suggests the labels were complicit in the sex cult allegations from the previous summer's BuzzFeed piece. Employees at the studios where Kelly were recorded were required to sign. Hold on, I didn't know this. The Washington Post also suggested that labels were complicit in the sex cult allegations from the previous summer's BuzzFeed piece. Employees at the studio where Kelly recorded were required to sign non-disclosure agreements and not enter certain rooms. I didn't know that everybody that was at the studio was required to sign non-disclosure agreements. For fucking what? And why you can't go in rooms? What the fuck is going on? Why, if I'm here in the studio, I gotta sign this paper? And why can I not go in rooms? No one you will hear do commentary tonight will be able to answer that question. No one. Right? These are things that no one wants to discuss. I'm guessing. Because it won't be discussed. Okay? Which they said they believe were where Kelly made the women stay while he worked. Despite the agreements, the newspaper was able to publish screenshots of text messages where women, hold on, I've never seen this. Wow. Despite the agreements, newspaper was able to publish screenshots of text messages where women in the rooms asked Kelly assistants to let them out so they can go to the bathroom or get food. The newspaper also published pictures taken after Kelly concluded a 6-week session at a Los Angeles studio paid for by his then current label RCA, showing a cup of urine sitting on piano and urine stains on the wooden floor of another room. Now, let me click this because they say that it is an article. So let's see. Okay, I had never seen this. Have y'all seen this? The Star Treatment. This is 2018 by Jeff Eckers. R.Kelly was really in trouble again, and it was really bad this time. In 2002, the police were investigating a sex tape appeared to show the R&B superstar with a 14-year-old girl. Of all the scandals that stirred around Kelly in his decade of fame, this one felt especially dire. But Kelly remained a potent talent, a hit maker who suavely skipped from sexy make-out jams, Bump and Grind, Believe I Can Fly, and the industry was not done with him yet. Even as bad publicity swirled, Kelly would always retreat to the studio where he wrote #1 hits for some of the biggest stars in the world, Michael Jackson, Celine Dion, and that's just where David McFerguson needed him, right? So I have never seen this. A rising young executive of Epic Records, McPherson had made his name by signing Backstreet Boys, Mandy Moore, and was eager to launch the career of the new boy band B2K with Kelly behind the scenes guidance. He did. However, asked one question about the offstage life. Is this stuff true? He asked Rocky Bivens, a Kelly assistant, according to Bivens. This R. Kelly assistant said, "Did you watch the tape?" Kelly recalls saying McPherson told him he had not. Bivens said he hadn't either. "Because Dave, if I watch the tape and that's him, I'm gone. And you're not getting those records." Bivens said he told McPherson, "I'm glad you did not watch the tapes." So, where you gonna go? Oh, okay. In February 2003, B2K sold #1 Bump Bump Bump, a earworming featuring P. Diddy, written and produced by Kelly. I didn't know that. 2 months later, McPherson soared to a new job, promoted to run the new urban division for Epic's parent company, Sony. McPherson, who has since left Sony, did not respond to multiple requests. He is far from the only industry figure who worked for Kelly and benefited from the partnership, even as a cloud of allegations, mostly involving the sexual abuse of young women, began to grow around the star. For decades, the recording industry turned a blind eye to Kelly's behavior as his career continued to thrive, and he was afforded even luxury of a chart-topping superstar. A Washington Post investigation found that his disregard for the singer's alleged behavior played out on so many levels. From the billionaire record executive who first signed the dynamic young vocalist in the early 90s to the low-paid assistants who arranged flights, food, and bathroom breaks for his traveling entourage of young women. 6 women once connected with Kelly spoke to the Post about what they say were abusive relationships. 2 of those women, Tracy Sampson and Patrice Jones, have never publicly spoken about him before. I've never heard Patrice Jones say anything. And this is the Washington Post. I can't believe I've never seen this. He makes you feel like a wounded puppy, like he's hurt so deeply that there's good there. He just can't get it all out, says Sampson, who was a 16-year-old Epic Records intern when she says Kelly first approached her in 1999. "Being so much older now, I see how wrong stuff was and how ultimately gross and pedophilish it was. But that's something you have to have your adult brain process." Back in 2002, Sampson didn't speak, silenced by a familiar legal tool, a non-disclosure agreement. Kelly continued to settle with more women as allegations against him mounted, but the music industry's luminaries remained silent, instead smiling for pictures alongside him at platinum recording ceremonies. That chilling code of silence remains silent today. Almost 25 years after the singer's illegal marriage to 15-year protege Aaliyah, and only weeks after a Dallas woman accused Kelly of knowingly giving her herpes, Kelly denies the allegations made by the Dallas woman. Kelly remains an active recording artist for RCA, a division of Sony, and continues to get booked for arena shows and promoted by local radio stations. But a shift seems to be taking place, sparked by a damning 2007 report by BuzzFeed GMD Regattas that focused on the women who remained with Kelly, combined with the growing power of the Me Too movement. The Time's Up Women of Color, a powerful anti-sexual sexual harassment group that includes producer Shonda Rhimes, actress Rashida Jones, and director Ava DuVernay, demanded this week that RCA drop R. Kelly and that over 2 decades of allegations be investigated. A Kelly representative called the effort the public lynching of a black man who has made extraordinary contributions to our culture. Miko Albaz, executive president of RCA and Sony Music, declined the comment. Kelly's management provided a statement to the Post early Friday saying that the singer has close relationship with a number of women who are strong, independent, happy, well cared for, and free to come and go as they please. All of the women targeted by current media onslaught are legal adults of sound mind and body with their own free will. Kelly himself declined through his manager multiple requests to comment for this story. In February, he was approached by the Washington Post in the lobby of Doubletree Suites Hotel in Detroit after a concert. He ignored a request for an interview and was shuffled away by employees. As early as 1994, Kelly's tour manager, Demetri Smith, recalls warning Clive Calder, the founder of Jive Records, the first label to sign Kelly. I said, Clive, you all need to tell him that you all aren't going to put out his records if he continued to have these incidents with girls after the show. So that was Demetrius in 94. See, you see how that is when you actually read, you know what I mean? When you read documents and shit. Like the other document, it says that an assistant went to Clive Carver and said, hey, tell this nigga you ain't gonna put out his music if he keep fucking with these girls after the show. Now you read another article, it tells you that it was Demetrius Smith in 1994, before any of this, went to Clive Carver and said, hey, because it was going on at every show. Calder, who was rarely interviewed, was reached at his home in the Cayman Islands. He said he regrets not trying harder to get help for Kelly. But I'm not a psychiatrist, and this guy is a troubled guy, said the mogul, who sold Jive for $2.7 billion in 2002. Clearly, we missed something. In 2012, in a Solar Coaster memoir, Kelly described a childhood racked by abuse and neglect. Robert Sylvester Kelly grew up in the Chicago projects. His father was gone before his birth. His working mother often leaving him in a house chaotic with cousin aunties, friends of his aunties. One day, Kelly stumbled upon two people having sex. They called him in and told Mika watch. Later, they gave him a camera and asked him to take pictures. Kelly was 8 years old. That's fucked up. That's bad. That's also when an older woman in the house, whom Kelly did not name, performed oral sex on him. That's allegedly his sister. Every time she did it, and she did it repeatedly, she warned me that what would happen to me if I snitched, she wrote. I was too afraid and ashamed. All I could do was stash the secret and hide it in my imaginary bread box. Right? As an adult, Kelly set up a system of rules to maintain secrecy. Certain rooms in the studio are off limits to his colleagues, who may be sitting just feet away at the mixing board, but Peter McCarran could guess what was going on behind those doors. Hold on, I've never seen this before. There was a constant flow of women, said Mockren, an engineer who production work on Kelly's 1993 solo debut 12 play. Led the jobs of Michael Jackson, Christina Aguilera, Mary J. Blige. I'd have to be like, hey Rob, come listen to this. And it'd be, oh, he's in the room with the girl. The culture of open secrets and official avoidance became entrenched by the time Kelly's relationship with Aaliyah Halton, the singer who rose to stardom before her death in a plane crash in 2001 at the age of 22. She was 12 when they met. Her uncle Barry Hankerson was Kelly's manager at the time. By 1993, Kelly was flying from her home in Detroit to work with Kelly in Chicago. Jive released her debut album in 1994, Age Ain't Number the Number, and written Kelly will go on to sell millions. That's some of the to a period we know about BET. But Kelly 27 to Live 15 came before the cameras wearing conspicuously plaid shirts dressed together. We seen that. Hold on. Okay? Seeger found it impossible to not to go there. Okay, let's okay, hold on. Let's clear something else. She said, "On everybody seems to think y'all is a girlfriend or boyfriend. Let's just get the record straight. No, we're not related at all. We're just very close. That's my best friend." Later, Seagull broached the second topic for the record. How old? That's a secret. We seen all that. The BET stuff. We seen all that. Okay, now Kelly decided they should get married. Demetrius Smith. Now this Demetrius Smith, this is his opinion, said that R. Kelly approached him and said that they should get married because she was pregnant. Kelly decided they should get married at 15. They would need her parents' permission. But Kelly didn't tell them of his plans. In late August, he flew up to Chicago where Demetrius Smith, his tour manager, said he took her to get a fake ID, stating that she was 18. Kelly and Aaliyah was married on August 31st at the Sheridan Gateway Suites in Rosemont, according to the paperwork filed with the Cook County clerk on September 4th, 1994. The marriage collapsed within days after Aaliyah returned home, told her parents the Holden eventually got the records expunged. So we're reading something from a trusted source of news with people that take journalistic oaths that have degrees, and they are putting out a story, right? But I didn't write the story, and I wasn't there, you know. So the marriage collapsed within days after Aaliyah returned home and told her parents. The Haltons eventually got the marriage expunged. Michael Halton died in 2012. Diane Halton could not be reached. Hankerson said he was legally prohibited from discussing Kelly. When asked if he had any regrets, Hankerson grew emotional. Let me tell you something. This is from Barry Hankerson. Let me tell you something. I'm a Muslim, he said. I do my prayers every day. I lost my niece in a plane crash, and please excuse my language, but I don't really give a fuck about none of them people you're talking about. Later in 1994, Hankerson and the Haltons came to Calder's office. There was no talk of reprimanding Kelly. Instead, the family demanded that Jive let Aaliyah go. And they basically tell me that they want a release from the contract. Calder said, saying they thought Aaliyah would never get the proper promotion if she was on the same label with Kelly. Calder agreed to let her leave, but only after securing a percentage of her future album sales on a new label. See, I didn't know that. So Aaliyah's parents, along with Barry Hankerson, they went to the label and say, hey, we want to be let go. I don't know how true that is. Well, I didn't write this. You know what I mean? One thing Calder didn't do, press pause on Kelly's recording career. In 1995, Jive released the second album. It went to number one. In response to questions about Kelly's relationship with Aaliyah, Kelly's management team said the following. As is well known, Mr. Kelly wrote and produced Aaliyah recordings. Their collaboration created great music, and along with the world, Mr. Kelly mourned the loss of a great talent. By 2007, Kelly has achieved singular status in the music world. His 6 number one albums made him a clear commercial success, but his popularity differed from other chart toppers. He was beloved, but also a punchline. And they get to talking about other things. I think going into this is things that we should already know, you know, and I don't want to talk about surviving. We talk about it too much already. Smith, the tour manager and singer, a high school dropout, didn't feel comfortable around mature, educated women. It's talking about R. Kelly. We didn't look at age, as Smith said, because their mamas let them stay out all night. That included rapper named Tia Tiffany Hawkins, who in 1996 sued Jive and Calder Zumba Recording Corporation, accusing Kelly of picking her up during a visit to old high school, Kenwood Academy. In her suit, Hawkins says she first had sex with Kelly in 1991 when she was 15. Man, 15 is the magic number right about now. Kelly settled with Hawkins for 2008 for $250,000. Jive attorneys successfully argued that the label and publishing companies should not be found liable. This right here is Clive Calder and Barry Weiss. Oh man, look at what they said. Y'all gonna be involved very fucking soon. Barry White, the chief executive of Jive Records from 1991 to 2011, told the Post he never talked to Kelly about his behavior. It was none of his business, White said. White said he didn't know that Jive had been named in the Hawkins lawsuit, nor in a second suit by another woman, Montina Woods. I was a record company putting out R.Kelly records, said Weiss, who later served as the head of Island Def Jam Group and Universal Records until 2014. That was all I knew. I wasn't involved in his criminal cases. We're a record company, for God's sakes. Okay. In 2001, 2002, Jim DeRogatis, the buzz right feeder who was then obtained the sex tapes, turned them over to Chicago police. You know about that. Calder recalls calling Gerald Margolis, Kelly high-powered Los Angeles attorney, and other clients include Mick Jagger and Robert Williams. Calder said Margolis, who died in 2008, told him the women filing lawsuits were not credible and were taking advantage of the singer. Margolis said to me, there's this guy, Jim DeRogatis, at the paper in Chicago. They got an axe to grind for Rob, Calder said. And they're looking to sort of stir shit up, basically. And that was it. Calder sold Jive in 2002. Little changed when the label came to Kelly, even after second child pornography arrest in 2003. We just read that in another interview. Right now, Hollywood, I'm clapping at his ass. So we're going, Larry Kahn, who was Jive's senior president for marketing, said he no problem working with Kelly after seeing a clip of the singer's sex tape. Kahn, now with Interscope Records, questioned whether it's a record company duty to deal with the performer's offstage behavior, referencing Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry, who also consorted with young girls. Should NBC have stopped Mr. Cosby? He asked rhetorically of the entertainer recently convicted of sexual assault, who was once the network's top star. I don't know the answer. I just stayed at the Wynn Hotel. Nobody was talking about Steve Wynn, the former casino. Man, this shit crazy as hell. The Intern. Jive wasn't the only record company to ignore Kelly's behavior in 1999. Tracy Sampson was 16. Now 35, she never spoken publicly. She always says doing so out of concern for young women who remained entangled with her frustration with how she was treated by the stars and his supporters. Sampson, who graduated from high school early, says she met Kathy Carroll. We just read this. Kathy Carroll was her boss. You know? Let's take a break. My throat getting dry, but I want to read this. Take a 2-minute break. Okay. Where were we? Tracy Sampson, who had graduated from high school early, says she met Kathy Carroll at Epic Regional Promotions Manager through a friend. Kelly, who managed Kelly, Carroll, who managed Kelly briefly in the 80s, brought her on as an intern. She formally introduced her to Kelly and brought her to the studio when the singer offered to play some of his new songs. When Kelly briefly left the room, Kelly recalled, Kelly told the team to pretend she had to go to the bathroom because he wanted to show her something. Sampson said no. Later said, Sampson said she told Carol that the singer made her uncomfortable, but Kelly also could be charming, polite, and funny. A few weeks later, Sampson said he gave her his phone number and urged her to call. In the weeks before starting her freshman year at Chicago's Columbia College, Sampson said she began having sex with him. She said she was still 16, and court documents from her subsequent legal claim indicate her sexual relationship began when she was 17. But Sampson says that attorneys agreed during the settlement process to mask the timeline. The relationship was difficult, Sampson said. They often fought, including one night when Sampson said Kelly brought a naked girl into the room and pressured Sampson to have sex with her. Another time, she says she noticed a red light blinking in the dark and she realized she was being filmed. She said she felt conflicted, hiding her relationship with Kelly from her parents and Carol. Sampson said Kelly would laugh when fretted about missing work at Epic and angered Carol. But when Carol found out about the relationship, she confronted her intern. She told me I was a stupid bitch and I shouldn't have talked to him, Sampson said. You know he's married, she said. You lied to me and you lied to me and you made him lie to me. Kelly wed back of Sidney Andrea Lee in 1996, had 3 children and divorced in 2009. Carol fired Sampson, but for years, whenever Sampson would run into Carol, even after Kelly settled her lawsuit in 2002, Sampson said her former boss would chastise her. Sampson attempted a career managing other artists, but gave up because she was told her dispute with Kelly had poisoned her reputation. Carol, who now works as a senior director of radio promotion and strategy for Sony-owned gospel label RCA Inspirations, has a different view. Rob is a really good person, she said. I think he's just trouble like a lot of these artists are. And I know that people who are artsy are kind of kooky, I guess, different. But he's got a very good heart. Sampson said Carol was starstruck. A lot of these women who claim stuff, they put themselves out there like that, then they want to turn around and sue people and sue men. Carol said a lot of times it's not really the men. While I disagree with that, that's her opinion. Kelly's aides helped keep his music life separate from his sex life. Their complicity has allowed him to maintain his entourage of 3 to 5 women at a time. The young women have lived with him in Chicago, Atlanta, or traveled with him to gigs. They typically been young African American women, often aspiring musicians or models who believe he could launch their careers. Cheryl Mack, one of Kelly's former assistants, worked as a talent manager in Atlanta before working for Kelly for almost a decade, starting in 2005. Mack declined multiple interview requests but detailed her tenure in a book proposal acquired by the Post. In it, Mack named 6 women who comings and goings in Kelly's orbit she coordinated using a debit card, a SunTrust account from Kelly's bank account. One of the one of the women was an one of the women was an artist. Mack says she managed a 17-year-old rapper from Atlanta. Mack introduced her to Kelly, but after the relationship became abusive, the teenager reached a settlement with Kelly, she wrote. While the expiring artist believed they were going to be connected with industry players, Kelly in reality isolated them from even studio hands. He expected them to follow his rules. These were told to the Post by multiple women who live with Kelly. The live-in girlfriends refer to him as daddy. They must ditch social media, hand over cell phones, and cut off families and friends. They are told to avoid looking at other men, even a hotel employee delivering room service. They must text either Kelly or an assistant if they want to leave the room or exit one of the black Mercedes cargo vans he travels in. Kelly is terrified of flying when he's in the studio. Those rules have left Kelly women stuck in bathrooms, stranded for hours, hungry, and forced to urinate in cups. The text messages below show how members of Kelly's entourage must seek permission for everything, including basic needs as such in the bathroom. These texts were provided to Washington Post by a former staffer. You hear anything? I need to use the restroom. You get my messages? I'm waiting at the restroom now. I think you all will get off shortly. I'm trying to make it happen now. Okay, I have to use the restroom and thanks. You're welcome. Okay, hopefully he don't forget. This is them texting staffers. No restroom for 12 hours. Dang, oh yeah, she's in trouble. He had her using bottles. And there's a sink in that bedroom. So she hasn't been off since the show. That's inhumane. Wow, damn, I pray she's alive. And he spanked her not long. Said he spanked her not long. Hold on. I'm going to read that shit again. No restroom for 12 hours. Dang. Oh, yeah, she's in trouble. Oh, yeah, she in trouble. He had her using bottles, and there's a sink in that bedroom. So she hasn't been off since the show. That's inhumane. Wow. Damn, I pray she's alive. Said he spanked her not long. Is she getting food? It was strange for her to be left in the studio for 2 days. She didn't move around. He'll never know or figure out what's the real deal is around that camp if we don't witness it with our own eyes and ears. Kelly's management said the allegation of rules were absolutely false and added, why are you asking Mr. Kelly to speak for women who can speak for themselves? Some in Kelly's camp told the Post that they never interacted with young women who were ever present in the studio other than occasionally bring food deliveries to their room. But other accusers said there were those who knew of Kelly's ways. I told you. So when Star 7 come out here and tell you all these stories about his girls, he was not allowed to interact with them. I have asked them, do they know who the fuck this nigga is? And they told me no. I don't know him. I've seen him around, but we wasn't allowed to look at him. Right? Lisa Van Allen says she was 17 when she began a 9-year relationship with Kelly in 1998. She confided in Kelly's publicist, Regina Daniels, about the underage girl she said was in a videotape. Kelly lands in court. Daniels, who no longer with Kelly, declined to comment. Darryl McDavid, Kelly's business manager from the 1990s until 2013, but has not hesitated to take on Kelly's accusers. In 2008, after Van Allen testified against Kelly in his child pornography trial, McDavid released a statement calling her an admitted thief and liar who wouldn't know the truth if she tripped over it. Well, nigga, you were indicted like a motherfucker. And McDavid also got involved in the case of Geronda Pace. In 2008, Pace, then known as Geronda Pace, was the 15-year-old superfan who attended Kelly's child pornography trial. She was thrilled when she was found not guilty. They cannot call him a pedophile anymore. She told MTV News at the time. In reality, jury foreman Jamin Mitty says that Kelly was acquitted because the girl alleged to be in the video did not testify. I think we all agreed it was certainly him in the video, Mitty told the Post. But without any kind of testimony from her or her parents, you had enough reasonable doubt to say, we don't know for sure. After the trial, one of Kelly's friends invited Pace to a party at the singer's home. By June 2009, she was having sex with Kelly according to court documents. McDavid often helped her. Hold on. McDavid often helped her get into clubs. She said, I did not fucking know that. Did you just see what I just read? How many of y'all know that? I'm going to read that again. After the trial, one of Kelly's friends invited Pace to a party at the singer's house. By June 2009, she was having sex with Kelly, according to court documents. McDavid often helped her get into clubs, she said. Wow. The relationship ended months later when Pace and Kelly got into a fight in which he choked, slapped, and spat on her in 2010. Kelly agreed to a $1.5 million settlement. But in 2012, David accused Pace of violating the terms of her non-disclosure agreement, emails acquired by the Post show. Your client is either lying or insane or both, McDavid wrote to Pace's attorney. If Pace, hold on, this is McDavid. If Pace utters one more word of this nonsense to anyone, I will personally sue her and have her prosecuted. This is what the accountant is saying. This is not his lawyer. This is the fucking manager and the accountant. But you want your case separated from his. Amazing. Amazing. I didn't know any of this. I'm only reading. So those of you in the bush that's watching, I'm only reading. McDavid, speaking this week to the Post, said that he never helped Pace get into any clubs, never saw her with Kelly, and doesn't even know what she looks like. Woo! I'm vehemently saying those are all lies, he said. As I recall, she came back and tried to extort more money through her cousins. That's what he said. He's entitled to his opinion. When asked if he ever tried to get help for Kelly, McDavid said he was bound by a confidentiality agreement and did not want to go into detail. So, McDavid had a motherfucking NDA that he couldn't go into detail. But he sued R.Kelly for $100,000. And then he sued R.Kelly again for another $40,000. Gotta remember that. But he said Kelly's issues were not ignored. Robert did everything he could to help himself, said McDavid. Every opportunity I had to try to assist him to be a better person, I took. Last summer, Pace told her story to BuzzFeed, breaking her non-disclosure agreement because of concern for an old friend, Dominique Gardner, 26, who continues to live with Kelly. I know that these girls are brainwashed, Pace told the Post. I was in their shoes and I believe everything he was telling me as well. And this week, Michelle Kramer, Dominique's mother, spoke publicly for the first time about her fears for her mother's safety. I'm going to skip that. I have reservations within my team. They feel a certain way. I feel another way about Dominique Gardner. And we're getting into things that you guys should know. You know? So, we're going past all that. So, I'm kind of wrap this up. Like, you guys should know. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's get to this. In a statement provided to the Post, Kelly's management team said Mr. Kelly will never stand between a parent and a child. If a child is an adult, that communication between them. All these women are adults and they make their own choices. So he's admitting that it was a child involved. He ain't write that. Star 67 wrote that shit. While Kelly has not spoken publicly about the latest rounds of accusations, other than to dismiss them as rumors in his Instagram post, he continued recording and performing. RCA recently paid for more than 6 weeks of studio time in Los Angeles. So this is supposed to be a cup of urine on top of a piano, and a cup of urine sits on top of the piano at a recording studio in RCA after a session by Kelly in this photo from a recording studio representative. A recording studio representative sent RCA this photo of damage caused by urine on the floor of the studio used by Kelly. So this is P. And this was said by a recording studio representative. That is P on the piano, and that is P on the ground. So allegedly, this is the Washington Post that I'm reading, right? So they could be sued for putting out incorrect, like whatever they got this from. They must have verified their sources, but this is PP. This is PP. PP on the floor. It's PP on the piano. It's PP everywhere, and this is it's allegedly R. Kelly's PP, right? Studio workers were given non-disclosure agreements to sign and not allow in the space while Kelly worked, but one worker said she was disturbed enough by what she witnessed to speak to the Post on condition of anonymity. After Kelly left, she found a cup filled with urine on the baby grand piano, and the studio wooden floor had been badly damaged with urine stains. The recording studio representative says she contacted RCA about the damage. That can be referenced. The post obtained from a former Kelly staffer photographs of the studio sent to Nancy Roof. Nancy Roof, RCA's vice president of administration. Roof did not return her phone calls. When asked about the damage to the studio, Kelly's management team responded, "This is an obnoxious question that reflects a malicious and intentional defamatory motive by the questioner." Kelly's continued relationship with Sony has been noted by many of his accusers. The women speaking out hope that this time the label executive will act and end what they consider a long-running cycle of abuse. Patrice Jones said that she found peace but has not forgotten what Kelly did to her. In September 1999, Jones, did 17, realized she was pregnant. The then married Kelly broke down into tears, she said, and told her his career would be ruined if she had the baby. She didn't want to get an abortion, eventually said Kelly pressured her to. Jones broke away from Kelly. She earned a college degree, built a career as a digital marketer, and had a daughter, a teenager who is now a straight A student, Jones says proudly. And in late April, she agreed to talk about Kelly for the first time. This is the first time I've ever heard Patrice Jones say anything. "I don't like going into the past," Jones said. "I feel like God is the judge. Man is not the judge. Everything that he's doing, he's got to pay for it. He probably already paying for it." And that's the end of it, right? And that is Mute R. Kelly. So, I don't know, man. I learned a lot from that. What do y'all think? I learned an absolute lot from that. I did. And it was also good to hear from Patrice Jones. That adds a lot of fucking fire to it. We discussed a lot. We really did. I don't know. We're gonna do more lives like this without music. Talking about we're basically gonna go back to setting the stage for commentary. I didn't write these things. Has nothing to do with me. These things were written by the Washington Post. If anyone would like to see this information, put R. Kelly in Google and go to Wikipedia. Right?
Opening app.
So, I don't know. That's why I'm doing live, Dana. You don't gotta debunk me. I didn't write the article. Geoff Eggers from the Washington Post wrote this article, and that's what we're gonna continue to do. Right? So it's on Wikipedia. All these articles, all this stuff is on Wikipedia. And we're going to go back and fix this. We're not going to be blocking. People are entitled to their opinion. For far too long, I don't want people blocked. I want people to see this. I want people to comment on this. I want people to answer the questions. People are going to journalists who has taken the journalistic oath by reputable newspapers. People are going under oath. People are talking to prosecutors and whatnot. Everybody on this side, this is what they're doing. Everybody on that side, nobody is coming out. Nobody is defending their friend except for YouTube bloggers and people that's on YouTube. We want to see from the real people that know R. Kelly that were there. You know what I mean? We want to hear from the people that were there. That's what we want to hear from. It's enough arguing. What's up, So Oakland? So Oakland had a birthday last week. We still gonna get that party in. We still gonna get that party in. And for those of you who have not gotten your t-shirts, there's other things that I've uploaded on there. Diva, your shirts will be out today. Your shirts will be out today. That is the link. But look, listen. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's not about debunking me. I didn't write it. Debunk the editor at the Washington Post with text messages about girls being stuck on buses and being deprived of food. Debunk actual witnesses and different shit. Like, it's so much shit in there. Debunk the court documents said under oath that he was messing with a preteen in 2009, a year after the case. Debunk him paying Jerome Pace $1.5 million. Debunk his fucking accountant attacking and going after these fucking women, but admitting that R. Kelly had a problem. Man, there's so many different angles to go at this to have a great conversation, but I've laid it out. You know what I mean? And I am gonna come back in an hour or two. I'm gonna come back with even more commentary, and it's gonna get to be more and more and more like the old days. We're not discussing no other channels. We're not writing the stuff, so there's no need to fucking attack us. There are articles, and it's hundreds of articles of things that we've never seen before. So, somebody just cashed at me. Let's see who it is, guys. Thank you, Hollywood, for the donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Look, we're smart and we read, right? So, we're going to switch it up a little bit. That's what we gonna do. I think that everyone that watches this channel is highly, 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 highly educated on the case. And I personally want to see what you got. Let them do the insults and the blocking and the rah, 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 and you know what I mean? And the marching. What we're going to do is focus on the articles. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it. You know, we're going to focus on the articles and we're going to focus on things that we don't know so we can strengthen our argument. It's almost trial time. They're fucking flying planes and motherfucking let me do this now. They're flying planes and goddamn it they got 100 rallies planned. They're doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not making fun of them. They're doing what they feel like they need to do. The only thing that we need to do, thank you, Miss Darcy. The only thing that we need to do is we need to keep reading. That is it. These things is out here. We cannot make it about us. The second that we make it about us, we actually give them an out. Because I don't think it's only certain bloggers that want to discuss the case. I don't think that they want to talk about the case no more. You know, I don't think that they actually want to have a conversation. Oh shit, my bad. I done damn, what's see it at? I done deleted goddamn. I thought he was blocked. Let's wait till he come back in. We gotta unblock somebody. Hold on. Give me 1 second. God damn it. This goddamn thing. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it makes no sense for us to go back and forth. It makes no sense for us to do that. We just need to keep fucking reading. We don't even have to make fun of them. You know, they get mad at us for reading shit that other people wrote. And we're going to read the shit out of it. Like, all of it. We're going to read it. And they can get mad and they can do all that shit they going to do. But they're supposed to be doing things to advocate for the person that they love to be released. You know? So, I don't know. I want to see how smart you are. You've been listening to me for 3 years. You have to know a gang of shit. Yes, we will be on our channels, minding our business. We will, I know, we will consistently, you know what I mean? You know, we are going to consistently freaking talk about the case. So, I'm going to come back. I'm going to actually go through Wikipedia. It's 100 articles, 150 articles. I want to come back and do a live about, maybe we can get some people to join us. I'm going to log in through the other panel. Maybe I can get some people on the panel. I actually want to discuss Clive Carver and these other people that seem to think that they're not liable for, that's if this person is convicted, that they're not liable for ignoring what this man was doing and he's employed by them. You know what I mean? I want to hear what you guys got to say. So I'm going to come back later. I'm going to get off here. Thank you very much for tuning in.
We live.
Thank you guys for coming through. That was the best live that I've had in a long time. The best. You're right, Keith. We always talk about the case. Thank you guys for donating, for coming through. We're going back to the basics. That's okay. Thank you for ordering shirts, for participating. No problem. All right, guys, I'm out.